Brothers Discovery and Paramount both ending the day lower after reports that the companies talked about a potential deal. Let's bring in IMAX CEO Richard Gelfond. Rich, would this tie-up be good for you or no?
So, John, I think it's way too early to speculate. I think the media got a little bit ahead of itself. You know, they reported there was one meeting. Obviously, there are a lot of obstacles to something like this happening: antitrust, taxes, financing, a lot of debt there. You know, for IMAX, I mean, we have a great relationship with both companies. You know, I never get ahead of my skis that far, and I think that's too far ahead to speculate.
Well, I'm not saying whether they should do it or whether it's going to happen, but I'm asking whether it would be good for you if there were fewer players in the business. Often, I mean, because I think that's the kind of question regulators would ask, right? Like, what's this going to do to Rich Gelfond or other, theater operators? Would this be bad for them?
So, well, first of all, we're not a theater operator. We're a technology licensing company.
Yes.
You know, we play blockbuster movies. So the question is what the impact would be on blockbuster movies. And the answer would be, I think we're still going to end up doing Mission Impossible 8, which we're doing in 25 with Paramount. And I think we're still going to do Dune 2, which will be a great movie that comes out this year with Warner and Joker. So for our particular company, I think there'd still be a lot of blockbusters. That's a segment of the market I don't think it would affect. So I think it would probably be neutral.
Rich, what's so amazing to me is I'm just looking at some of these stats on IMAX global box office. You're on pace for the company's second highest grossing year ever worldwide. Domestically, the highest grossing year ever in North America. What do you attribute the fact that folks seem to be going back to the theaters, going back to watch films right now? I mean, how much of this is higher traffic? How much of this is higher prices?
Most of it is traffic, Morgan. I think, there are a number of reasons, but, we're diversified globally. We're in 90 countries, so we're not really tied only to the North American box office. I think 20% approximately of our revenues this year were from local language films, meaning Japanese, Chinese, Indian. And I think, that's made that was a tremendous growth area for us this year. And I also think, it's a premium experience. We create awe-inspiring content. Post-pandemic, people really want something different than they're getting on their television set, streaming. And I think we benefited from that. Our market share is up a lot, all of those factors.
On a day where Nike just reported earnings and investors are keenly focused on the state of the Chinese consumer, China's your largest market worldwide in terms of screen numbers. What are you seeing?
So, this is somewhat surprising, but as weak as the economy was this year in China, the movie industry really made a very strong comeback. So we're not quite where we were in 2019, which was the highest point ever, but we certainly were much higher than over the last couple of years. And Chinese New Year was the biggest Chinese New Year ever, which is important because Chinese New Year this year comes in February. And the summer box office in general in China came back a lot. So, I mean, it's surprising to me, and I'm sure to a lot of your audience, but for whatever reason, that was a consumer sector that did well last year, and I think that'll continue.
Streaming business focus turns to profitability. Does that mean windowing's back for good?
I think so, John. I mean, I think all of the streamers and the studios that do both have noticed that their streaming revenues are higher for movies that have a theatrical window first. So last year, Top Gun Maverick, which was the highest box office movie in 22, was also the highest PVOD and streaming movie. And you look at what the streamers are doing. So, Apple this year released both Napoleon and Killers of the Flower Moon theatrically because they believed that would help their streaming revenues as well as the overall run of the movie. Amazon has done the same thing. So, Netflix beats to its own drum, and I think we have to see what they do. But in general, I think the windows are here for the future.
All right.